So we view inflation in the economy as, well, inflation is a naturally occurring phenomenon in any economy, but the level of inflation that we have, we view that as natural. And so there is no association between inflation and our production. In other words, there's no association between the real economy, what we're really producing, versus the inflationary factors. And so our wage negotiation process is just about keeping up or bettering inflation. There's no real focus on improving productivity, which has an impact upon inflation. So when the teachers have gotten this wage increase now, and they deserve it, it behooves them to increase their productivity. Because if they don't increase their productivity, the wage increase will end up driving further inflation, which is the cycle we are caught in. And so you give wage increases, which drives another round of inflation, which you go back for another wage. The only way you're going to break that is by increasing productivity. And to increase productivity, you have to hold people accountable for results. So it is in the interest of the teachers. It is in the interest of the teachers, because the government will not always be in a position, and the way in which the international situation is shaping up now, we could never guarantee that we will always be able to give wage increases that will match the level of inflation. And when that is not done, inflation becomes a tax and erodes your real purchasing power. So it is in the interest of the teachers to increase their performance in line or even better than the increase in pay. So those are the points I want to make about accountability, and I hope that I was clear and that everybody understood the direction of the government and what we intend to achieve. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much, Andrew. That was a very, very enjoyable discussion. I once, years ago, worked at an institution, not in Jamaica, where it was said that promotion assessment was based on passing the mist in the mirror test, which consisted of holding a mirror to a candidate's mouth, and if mist appeared, they got the promotion. Anyhow. I'm going to throw the floor open now. I'm sure that several of you have questions. We'll start with Damien, and then we'll move around the table. And what you can do is, if you light up your microphone, just press the button, I'll see, and it will come around to you in due course. It should go on. If it's not fine, and we'll just go with the hands then. Damien.
Minister, I wonder if you want to use this opportunity here to tell us how far up to the top the principle of accountability is going to be applied, and how will that manifest itself?
Well, I'm the most accountable. unlike many, every 5 years, or probably even earlier than that, I face an electorate. And that electorate, is very discerning, and they quite understand. Not so, Maxine? that electorate is. So, yes, accountability starts with me. And I hold myself accountable. I set high standards for myself. I give you an example. The National Literacy Strategy said 85% literacy by 2015, Frank, or 2015? And I looked at it and I said, you know what? This is setting my hat where I could reach it. Let me put it higher and challenge myself. I'm going to miss the target. But I'm not going to miss the target at 85. I probably miss it at 90 or 95. And so that is how I challenge myself and hold myself accountable for delivering the results. So it starts with me.
But Minister, the principle of accountability has to have a consequence for missing the target. It's not just a matter of setting a high target.
But as I alluded to, if the electorate felt that I should be penalized for missing that target. I'm sure they will exercise the ballot in that way. In other words, that's for me. And as it goes down towards, as we said, we have established now an accountability matrix, which identifies now, for example, the chief education officer. He will be held accountable. Right? The principals will be held accountable. Frank, I don't know if later on you will be probably giving more explanations about our process of assessment and our evaluation form. You have, yeah. So in other words, we are developing the processes for evaluation and, of course, the consequences.
It occurs to me it would be an intriguing possibility that every time a principal came up for a contract renewal, that as we have done today, you would have the alternate seated immediately next to him or her. So, yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, the issue I want to raise, a number of issues. First of all, I'm in agreement with the accountability issue at every level, including the minister also. There's something I want to dispel some myth here, and it relates around teachers' pay, because every time this comes up, it becomes a real serious issue. The 80% of market was measured against some of the lowest level paying private sector companies. I want for that to be understood. There is a contention. Every time teachers ought to be paid, there is a contention. My position is that the teachers must be paid properly. So if we are going to require an education system that is performing at an optimum level, a high level, we have to have teachers that are fully motivated, and motivation has a number of issues. You raise some things that are of concern to me, that I'm literally frightened about, and I'm putting on my trade union hat now. The issue of firing, the issue of not protesting, and I want to put a little spin to it. We have to have a system that has justice, equity, freedom from victimization. You must have an appeal process if there is injustice, or if you feel that injustice is meted out to you. You have to pay attention to the kind of board that you put in place. And you must have government that is responsive to the need. And it includes also higher pay, working conditions, and all of these. Other than that, we're sure we're not going to be on the same page. We have to be on the same page for this system to work. So I don't have a problem with the things you raise, but we must have these things that I'm talking about: the justice, the equity, the freedom from victimization, system that you can appeal to, all of these things.
I'm very glad you raised those issues. And I would have hoped that you would not have spinned it, because it's not an issue that requires spinning. It is a straightforward issue. And let me tell you why it's straightforward. If teachers, let me not say teachers, but anyone who doesn't perform does not have a right to the job.
I agree with you.
And I think we have to just get that clear.
Yeah, I agree with you.
We also have to say that there should be a process of separation.